Everyone's trying to find their purpose because most people get it wrong. When you're doing something that's on purpose, it's going to be magical rainbows and everything's going to feel good. But no, there's going to be that period, like you said, where you're going to suck.
You know, for me, going through constant anxiety, panic attacks, depression, then learning, meditation, learning breathwork, learning the tools that we teach today, helped change my life. I think you don't discover your purpose by waiting. I think you discover it by living.
Special episode lined up for you today. Going to be talking and diving deep into purpose and what purpose really is. So yeah, excited to actually be here and having a conversation with you. Not a lot of time we actually get to sit down like this and converse with each other. So Definitely. I'm actually looking forward to it.
Definitely. Always good chats. And we like to dive deep, as you guys know. So we'll get today kicking off. Topic we're going to go into today is purpose. Having a purpose, living in alignment with purpose. So let's get it started, right? I know for myself, I was always lacking purpose. When I was younger, I didn't know my direction and what happens, right? We go to school, we listen to our teachers, listen to parents, and they're kind of guiding us, right? They're telling us what type of purpose we should be living. And I think for a lot of people, probably resonate with this too. It feels like our purpose is kind of handed to us, or we're given like choices. You can go down this road, you go down this road, you go down that road, and these are the kind of roads for you. And this is often what I found that happened to me, is that you start listening to those external voices and and go heading down that path.
Yeah, it's a big topic. I think a lot of people, everyone's trying to find their purpose, right? Like you hear it all the time. Like I'm really trying to find what my purpose is in this life and what I'm meant to be doing, and I think you got to start with what purpose really is. What does it even mean? Something I used to hear a lot was people thinking that they had this one mission or divine path, as you will, that they were trying to find. And everything that they were doing in life was essentially out of alignment with that. And they needed to find that. I need to find what my purpose is, what my specific purpose is. Now, I have my own beliefs of what I think purpose is as well, but I think we should start with what does purpose even mean?
Yeah.
Is it this divine mission, this divine path that you find, or is it just something you feel, in the moment? Because I know a lot of the times I feel like I have purpose, or I have a purpose when I'm helping someone in a way that's off my divine mission, as you will. If we were on a set, our cousin's a filmmaker, for example, if I was holding a light and I felt like I was holding the light correctly, I would feel in that moment that I had a purpose. In this moment, my purpose is to shine the light. So I think that the definition can get skewed. So what do you really think purpose is? What do you think the definition of purpose really is? Or is it different to other people?
I think people have different meanings, for sure, when it comes to the word purpose. I know that when you look at the etymology behind the word purpose, it's an old French term called propos, right? And it's also Latin for proponere, right? Which means to put forth or to set before oneself, right? Or it also means to have an intention or an aim. So, if you look at that definition of it, it's to have something that we're aiming towards and moving in that direction, right? It's an intention. So it's something that we consciously place in front of ourselves. And, I understand what you're saying, I know that when I was working in a warehouse years ago, when I was doing my job, I did feel like there was moments where I had purpose, but then I did feel like there was moments where I was doing something that didn't light me up, that I felt like, I don't want to be doing this, doesn't inspire me, doesn't energize me, I'd rather be at home. Even though I'm doing the activity, right? I've got a purpose. I'm here and I'm one of the staff members. But what I found for me personally was when I started working on myself more, I started to kind of enjoy the activities a little bit more. That led to me getting promotion, leadership roles, right? And then when I was in those leadership roles, I felt like I had a bit more of a purpose because I was more important. So for me, it's like it's a coming into a place of being more important.
Kind of like, I guess, feeling like you matter.
Yeah.
Having significance.
Yeah.
Which, as we know, is one of our, core human needs, to feel like we're important, feel like we matter, feel like we have some sort of significance as well. So I guess the meaning kind of can get skewed as well, and you can take so many different things from it. For some people, purpose can be that you are important and you matter, right? But I like what you said in terms of it being a goal, because, I think back to like a business meeting or, a Zoom call or a video call or an in-person meeting that we have where, when a meeting gets a little bit off topic and you're just like, what's the purpose of this meeting? Right? That's what clicked to me when you said the etymology. Like, what's the purpose of this conversation? What's the purpose of this meeting? And when you really think about it, by definition, the purpose is just a goal.
Or intention.
Or intention.
Yeah.
So like, what's the goal or intention of what we're doing?
Yeah.
Right? So you can find purpose in essentially anything.
Yeah.
Really, as long as you have the right goal and the right intention, or you think that what you're doing is leading you to your greater goal or your intention. Right? That's an interesting topic, because I want to stay on that for a second, because, as we know as well, with values and human needs, someone will sacrifice their values to meet their needs. So if you're not feeling like you're significant enough, right, or important enough, you'll sacrifice your values of love, connection, freedom to feel like you're important enough. And I feel like the word purpose kind of comes into play where people can mix it between, well, is my purpose something that I'm relating to my values and a goal and intention that I'm looking to achieve in life? And that becomes my greater purpose, where sometimes the definition can come back to, well, I want to feel like I have purpose in this moment, where really, do they want to feel like they have purpose, or do they really just want to meet their needs and feel like they matter? Right? So I think it's important for people at home listening. Like if someone's at home right now thinking, Jacob, Luke, what's my purpose? I don't know how to find it. I think the first step that they've got to take, step one, is understand what purpose is. Okay, so if you're meeting your needs in a healthy way, that's when you can start to think about your purpose and think about, well, what is it that I actually want to achieve? What's my goal? What's my intention in life? Without, sacrificing my goals and my values for my needs. Let's get our needs met first in a healthy way. How can we feel like we're important enough to ourselves? How can we meet our need of significance, love, feeling like we matter, and having safety and security in our life, and then move on to thinking about our purpose?
Yeah, I think interesting what you discussed there about the human needs, because we've also got basic needs, right, which are like shelter, food, warmth,
physiological.
Yeah, some of those basic needs, and I think if those aren't being met, right, of course, it's like,
who cares about the goal?
Who cares about my goal or vision, right? Or I need a fire, I need food, I need shelter, and some of those basic things. And then I would assume for most people watching this that they have those, basic things met.
Yeah.
And then it's like, all right, we can start getting some other higher goals and higher visions met when we've got those baseline things there. But I think what happens is we need that time, right, to really sit, because some people might think, well, what is my purpose, right? And where do we get these ideas as well from our purpose? Because you might have an idea to be a fireman, or my purpose is to be a doctor or an actor, or I want to go to space. But everything is like planted, right? We know about the subconscious mind, and the subconscious mind takes on suggestions. So when we're young, if we get told by our parents or teachers, these are the possibilities of you, or we watch movies and you watch things and we start thinking, oh, when I grow up, I would love to be a fireman, or I'd love to be an astronaut and go to space, or an actor. And that kind of can shape our purpose, right? So I think we don't really know sometimes what our purpose is until we actually try and take action and get some experience.
Mm.
You know, one things I want to touch on as well is that we have this external compass, these external voices, sorry. And usually there's an internal voice, right? Something that lights us up internally. But usually it's a lot quieter. And for us to listen to the internal voice, it requires us to kind of quieten down the external voices.
Sure.
You know, but what do we know? You know, the ages 0 to 7, we're going to be more listening to the external voices, taking everything on as gospel.
Yeah. For those listening though, why is that? Like why age 0 to 7? Like just for anyone who's listening.
Yeah, so the ages 0 to 7 is when your critical faculty of the subconscious mind is open. So you haven't got a gatekeeper, which this critical faculty stops everything from being suggested, and it develops around the age of 7.
So in that time, you're basically like a sponge absorbing in everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's a good point. You know, there's a lot of great entrepreneurs and influencers as well that talk about purpose and meaning and how to find your purpose. And, you know, a good example that comes to mind is actually Simon Squibb, this guy in the UK that you know of, and he goes around and talks about people's dreams and their purpose. Great content. If you're listening to this, love your work. But he always boils down purpose to essentially what someone's been through in their life. So when he extracts someone's purpose for them, he asks them, what's the biggest pain or challenge that you've overcome in your life? Basically, what was the most painful time in your life? And for a lot of people, you know, the age-old saying, you know, from pain to purpose really rings true. And it goes on what you say in terms of our conditioning. Whereas, you know, our purpose is something that is built through life based on our experiences, based on what we go through, right? And a lot of the times for people, it's their biggest pain and they don't want other people to experience that. You know, we go through things in life, and all of the coaches that we've worked with, for example, hundreds of the coaches we've trained over the last year and a half, all said a very similar thing when they were asked why they wanted to become a coach. It's because they've been through something that they just don't want anyone else to go through. And they believe that that is their purpose, right? And it kind of, in a way, is a beautiful thing as well, because it gives meaning to the pain that someone's been through. You know, instead of saying, well, I've been through this terrible thing in life, whatever that is for you, bankruptcy, heartbreak, health issues, whatever it could be, it's kind of a beautiful way of transmuting that into something special. And as you know, changing the perception and the meaning around that and saying, well, you know what? This is actually my purpose. I've been gifted this challenge so that I can help other people. And so that I can prevent other people from experiencing that, but also so that I can help them through it. So it really is a beautiful thing.
Yeah, it's powerful. And like you said, Leon, a lot of the coaches we work through, whatever they've been through becomes something that they're an expert in, right? Like saying the pain to purpose. And there's always a meaning behind what things we go through, because we're gauging experiences of life. It becomes their niche. You know, for me, going through constant anxiety, panic attacks, and depression, then learning, you know, meditation, learning breathwork, learning the tools that we teach today, you know, helped change my life. And now, you know, I help other people, right? I use those tools that helped me to help others. So it is a beautiful thing there. But I want to touch on a point where you mentioned discovering your purpose through lived experience. I think that's very crucial. I think sometimes we go searching for our purpose. You know, we might try and read a book on discovering our purpose. Maybe we sit there and try and write down and get ideas on our purpose, what it could be. And then that could be very helpful, right? There's ways to get into the subconscious mind and see what's important to us. And we can discover some very good information. But I think through that discovery is also just experiencing life, right? And trying new things. So if you're someone who's not sure on their purpose and what it may be, okay, and you haven't dived into the subconscious mind, there is a lot of information in the subconscious mind, right? And you can discover a lot about yourself and what about lights you up and things that you value. But I think just aside from that, just experiencing life and trying new things, getting outside of your comfort zone and doing something different and seeing, okay, I did this. Maybe it's writing. Maybe it was dancing. Maybe it was painting. Maybe I played a sport. Maybe I went surfing. Okay. And we're trying different things. And what do we get? Well, every time we do that, the body gives us information, right? We either feel great and fantastic. Maybe we're really good at it. Right. And then we go, I like this. I'm good at this. I enjoyed this.
Keep doing that.
Keep doing that.
Yeah.
And usually if we...
Makes me feel significant, good, and important.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And usually if we don't feel good, right, we suck at it.
Yeah.
This painting thing, I'm not that good at it, right? And I'm not enjoying it. That's kind of information in itself too. It's like, stop doing this, do something else. So obviously it's an interesting one because you can also learn the skill, right? But how do we learn a skill? We have to endure those early steps.
Yeah.
Right? When we first write or when we first paint, we may not be good at it, but if we enjoy it, we have the willingness to continue and go through those little moments of I'm not good enough to get better and better and better.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it reminds me of one of my mentors a while ago when I used to work with certain entrepreneurs and work in sales, and I didn't really like sales. I always thought it was I just didn't want to do it. I didn't like it. I think a lot of people don't. And he said to me, well, of course you don't like it because you're not good at it. And that really clicked to me. And it's something that drove home with me. So I don't feel like I'm in alignment with it. It's not like in alignment with me and who I am and my values. And he said, of course not, because you suck at it. Or along those lines of words.
Yeah.
But it really clicked to me. And, I think we start to love something when we become good at it. We start to love something when we develop the skill to become good at it. And it's interesting because, for those at home listening, obviously you first have to understand what purpose is. So if we're going back on the steps, what is purpose? Okay, it's a goal, it's an intention, right? And then once you understand that, you realize that when you find your purpose, it's not like you magically just feel amazing and everything lights up and you're good at everything you do. Right? There is a period where you're going to suck. Okay. And so people think that when you're doing something that's on purpose, it's going to be magical rainbows and everything's going to feel good. But no, purpose is the goal, it's the intention. But there's going to be that period, like you said, where you're going to suck and you have to get through that period.
Yeah. The key thing is if you're enjoying it still, you could suck at it, but there's something there. There's something about it that...
Well, what is that? Like, what is that that's there? Because, like, for example, when I was learning sales, I didn't really enjoy it when I wasn't good at it. But I know that for me personally anyway, I don't know if it's for anyone, I know that what got me through was actually the goal and the intention and thinking further ahead than the moment and thinking about, well, where is this leading me? What's the end goal that this is going to help me get to? And because I was so attached to that end goal and I knew with delusional confidence that it was something that I was going to achieve, it was almost like it lightened the blow of what I was doing in the moment of kind of like, in a healthy way, kind of like, oh, this is just temporary. I just have to do this to get to my goal.
Yeah.
This is just a necessary part of it.
Temporary pain to get to your outcome.
Yeah. And then through that journey, I began to actually love it because I became good at it. And I realized that it was a part of everyday life. And that it actually transformed me into a better person, a better communicator, and a better human, in relationships, friendships, business. And so, is there a bit of that, like having that goal and that delusional vision and that confidence in what you're going through to actually get through things? Is that what purpose is?
Well, I think if you're got enough of a big reason why, you're going to endure things. right? You're going to go through that struggle, that challenge,
Mm.
or sucking at it to get the reps enough to become good at it. Like, if I put $10 across from all these bushes and thorns, and you got to walk through the bushes, and you're going to cut yourself, and you're going to get muddy and perhaps slip, you're probably not going to go and get the $10, right? But if I put $1,000 across from the bushes, you go, yeah, all right, I'm going to get dirty. I don't mind getting cut. Yeah, I might slip. It's risky, but I'm willing to endure that pain or that challenging experience to get to the $1,000, right? So you saw something, but I think, maybe I can ask you, did you start getting positive results? Because I know for sales, if you close a deal, you feel good, right? The emotions go up. If you don't close a deal, emotions go down. So were you closing deals early on in your sales journey?
Well, yeah, of course, just like as much as anyone else, really. Well, not as much as anyone else, but I did pick it up quite fast, as you know. But that's purely because of the belief I had in my goal and my vision. And I think because I had such a big goal and such a big vision and such urgency to act, that I picked the skill up very quickly, faster than most people would.
Yeah. Because here's my question to you: if you're starting to feel positive emotions,
like, did I enjoy the process, kind of thing?
If you got results, that means you're starting to enjoy the process, right?
Yeah, I wouldn't say I got big results. Like, it wasn't like, if anything, my life changed more so financially when I started coaching, my coaching business. And during the process of learning sales, I wasn't really getting outlandish results. I was actually kind of just getting by. So
okay,
I think...
But were you getting wins in sales?
Was I getting wins?
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
Right, so the wins, obviously.
So I was getting a lot more losses.
You were getting more losses than wins?
Of course, yeah. Absolutely.
And there was enough, but how many wins per loss?
Well, as you know, more losses than wins.
More losses than wins, but obviously
lots more.
When you get a win, it outweighs the losses because it keeps you going. I know for when I get a win, you get dopamine release, endorphins, it feels good. It makes all the losses kind of irrelevant. And
yeah.
So I think you could say it's getting those wins that help keep you going. If you kept getting losses, right, well, what keeps us enduring that sets that vision and that goal?
I think it's more so the goal. Like, if I think back to when I was getting those wins, it wasn't like, oh, wow, I just had this win and now I feel amazing. It was like, I had this win and wow, I can see how I'm getting closer to my long-term goal now. So definitely having that intention and having that goal or having that purpose by definition to what I was doing, and kind of assigning purpose to that. So, I would think, well, every time I got a loss, for example, I got rejected or I, didn't hit my targets, it was fine because I knew that there was a purpose to that loss. Right? So what is the purpose of this situation? Well, it's to help me get to my end goal. And so I think for people listening at home, understanding what purpose is massive. And then realizing that when you set a goal and an intention, you can find purpose in everything that you do if you choose to. And this is the thing, going back to what we said before about pain to purpose. You can go through something incredible in your life, terribly frustrating, a huge pain in your life or a challenge or something. And yeah, maybe you overcame it or you went through it, but not everyone can transmute that into a purpose. A lot of people actually just stay with those scars for the remainder of their life, and it actually limits them, right? So it's a choice to find purpose in that. And so I think when you have a big enough goal or an intention that you're wanting to achieve in life, you can find purpose in the little things if you choose to. And so understand what purpose really is, set a goal, have an actual goal or a vision. So many people have not even thought about what they want to achieve in life. There's so many people that we speak to that when asked what they're looking to achieve, they just don't know. They actually haven't thought about it. So start thinking about, well, what is it that you want to achieve? What is your aim? What is your goal? And then you can find purpose in everything in life, really.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
I think finding the purpose in everything, and that's the power, because then it's like, it's not just the wins that keep you going, it's also those losses, because you see there's a purpose and a meaning to those losses. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Another thing I wanted to touch on was that if someone's living in line with their purpose, sometimes there's this common thing that we feel like it's flowy, it's meant to be easy, effortless, but being in your purpose doesn't mean it's easy.
No. Probably veering towards the opposite, I would say.
Yeah, it's the key word for me from what I experience is challenging.
Yeah.
Right? It can be challenging and
uncomfortable.
Yeah, uncomfortable. It could be outside of your familiarity. It's something that requires growth. Right? And what is growth? Growth requires discomfort, right? It requires, if you look at growing your muscle, you've got to put the muscle through discomfort, and it's got to be worked, and it creates a tear in the muscle for it to repair and grow. So you got to go through, stretch, and challenge yourself, right, to step into that purpose or that path that you're on. And I think, like what you said as well, if we see the challenging moments as a part of the purpose, there's moments of challenge, moments of support, but if we see the challenging moments that are helping us to get to that destination, that goal, that vision, and that intention, then we will keep going. We will endure,
Sure.
Won't stop, right? And that's why you didn't stop when you got into sales and you got some no's and you're like, I suck at this, I don't like it, but you had a vision. You knew it was leading you somewhere.
Yes.
Right? It's a means to an end. It's not, I'm not going to be in this forever, but it's leading me somewhere, and I can learn from this.
Yeah, I like that. So let's boil it down. So step one is you got to first define purpose.
Yeah.
And so we've done that for people to understand, well, what is purpose? Really, it's essentially an aim or a goal or an intention, right? And then the second thing is to set the goal, right? So set your goal. What is your intention? What is the purpose of your life? Which is essentially another way of saying, what is the aim or the goal or the biggest dream that you'd like to achieve? What is your aim? So then it goes on and begs the question to me, how do you set the right goal, and how do you know that the goal you're setting is right? Because we can easily set a goal to make a lot of money, right? Or, get to 8% body fat, for example. But how do you know that that goal is the right goal for you and is your purpose, essentially? And I know what it boils down to for me, because I always come back to service. You think of, like, for example, the mission to the moon recently, and you could ask, well, what was the purpose of that mission? Well, the purpose of the mission, or the goal of that mission, was to travel around the moon and to come back and to essentially build the confidence that they could do that, so that they can then go back to the moon. Okay, as an example. Now, a lot of people are going to say they never went, but that's a different conversation. So the purpose is the goal. But how do you know that the goal is noble and is right for you? To me, it boils down to, well, is your goal and the achievement of your goal going to actually benefit other people, or is it only going to benefit you?
Yeah, that's a good question.
So set your goal, to understand purpose, set your goal, but then make your goal about something greater than just you, greater than just your own achievement. And when you can set your goal about something greater than you can get support from something or someone greater than you. That's what I believe. So I think it's important to set the right goals as well.
I guess you're saying, yes, you can set goals for yourself, or you can set goals for the good of all.
Yeah, they're greater than
right?
us.
Or for other people. And I think that's when you're connecting more to this spiritual purpose, right? This your soul's purpose, which innately I would say for everyone is in some way, shape, or form to be of service to other humans. And I think that's where you get that fuel again, right? A strong reason why to endure.
Yeah.
Those challenging moments.
It kind of magnifies it, doesn't it? Because if you make your reason why, let's say, or your goal, but your reason for achieving that goal about you're one person. So if I want to grow my business and impact, my life in a positive way, let's say get to, first $100 million as an example, then I make that about me. And I'm one person. Yeah. So I'm one reason why, you could say. But then I found in my life, when I make my goal about me and then you, my brother, my family, and then other people in my life that are important to me, that really do mean something to me, then I'm taking the reason from one reason why to 10 or 15 reasons why. And so I'm multiplying the reasons by more than one. And here's the thing, is when you multiply it about someone other than yourself, it becomes more important. Because have you ever noticed, for example, we ride motorbikes, right? For example, when we're riding, I don't know if this happens for you, but we're riding a motorbike, I'll do something silly on the motorbike and I'll feel like it's okay. But if I see you doing just something 1% as silly, I get extremely worried. I'm like, no, don't do that. It's not safe. You should be okay. So as humans, it's almost like we care more about other people than we do ourselves in a way.
Yeah.
When you're rock climbing or hiking and you're standing on the edge of a cliff, you might be standing on the edge and think, I'm safe, I'm okay. But your friend or your brother or your sibling or your loved one is looking at you thinking that is not okay, get back from the ledge, right? So we care more about other people in a sense than we do about ourselves, fundamentally.
Well, fundamentally, but I think we care about others because we're worried about if something was happening to them, well, how would we feel, right?
Yeah,
so it does come back to you. Because if something was to happen to, say, a family member and they fell off the cliff, yeah, they would pass away, but that would also affect you, and you would have to deal with all the stuff. They would instantly not have to deal with anything because they'd be dead, right? But you would have to deal with all the stuff. So it's actually more selfish when the person is on the edge or doing something stupid, because that essentially is putting someone else's.
Yeah, I can see how that could be like a complex thing.
Yeah.
But I guess in the term of purpose, like, do you think that that's important to make that reason why about something more than just you? Or is that also just making it more selfish in a way? Or does that matter? I mean, does that just give you 10 more reasons why?
I think it's just intelligence. If it works, you know that it works for you, right? And you have the right intention. That's where it's coming with goal and intention, right? You can build a house because you have to build a house, or you can build a house because you love the person, or you can build the house for multiple reasons, right? But if it's coming from, as you say, the right intention, you're going to get that support. There's going to be like a spiritual support, right? Rather than like, I have to do this. It's like, no, I want to do this.
Is that because of intelligence, or how do you mean?
Well, I'm saying it's intelligent to understand that if you use the different fuels,
okay,
you've got dirty fuel and you've got clean fuel.
Got you.
You can get something done and not really want to do it.
So logically, we should be making our goal about more than just ourselves.
Yeah.
That's what you're saying.
Yeah, I'd say logically, you should be making your goal a bigger thing than just you.
I like that. Good topic.
Yeah. I think that's in itself another type of topic.
Yeah. So, all right. So for those at home, those watching, so 3 steps. Understand what your purpose is first and foremost, because most people get it wrong. It's really just a goal or an intention.
Yeah.
Second thing, to make it a meaningful purpose or a meaningful goal, is to, well, first set a goal, because not many people actually have a goal.
Yeah.
And then make that goal, step 3, make that goal about something more than just yourself. That is how you make it meaningful.
Yeah.
In life.
Yeah, and I think trying and testing. trying and testing as well. See how you feel when you're doing different things, like experiencing different things, right? And that's how you're going to kind of get different indicators on your purpose, because your purpose is not concrete as well. It changes. There's cycles in life. There's rhythms.
Yeah, where your values change, goals change.
Yeah, so there's you might hit a certain point, and then you might move into a different direction, right? And your purpose can change over time.
People can get into paralysis over that as well, though, can't they? I mean, it's like, you know, because I hear from some people they don't want to set goals because, well, for one is that they want to stay in the present moment and, you know, not about thinking about the future. I want to stay present and enjoy it. So they never set an actual goal, right? And then, you know, the second thing is because they never set a goal, they never actually move anyway. So that can kind of be paralysis as well. So like you said, is just actually start trying.
Just start, yeah. You got to start experiencing things. Some people just get caught up in the pen and paper.
Yeah. So even if it's not your ultimate purpose, just get started.
Yeah, well, like we believe in, obviously we are co-creators, so you can create your destiny, right? That starts with an idea, a thought, you know, a goal, an intention, writing it down and trying it, starting to do it, right? That's what it's all about. Right. So yeah.
Good chat. All right. Anything else you wanted to touch on before we wrap it up?
No, I think just some key things. Purpose isn't found overnight, right? It's one of the big things. It's discovered through action, growth, curiosity, and experiencing life. And we have to sometimes listen to that quieter voice within rather than the external noises without. And learn new things, try new things, take risks, okay, and follow what lights you up as well. I think that's really important information, but it's not always going to be comfortable. Right, you got to remember that too. So we have to lean into the discomfort, lean into the challenge. Okay, and yeah,
I love that. It's fantastic. Good conversation.
Yeah. I think you don't discover your purpose by waiting. I think you discover it by living.
Definitely. Yeah. So for those at home, set a goal and just get started now. Your purpose is something that'll come along the way. Yeah. Love that. Well, until next time.